Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. July 28th, 2020 was my 5-year anniversary of hormone replacement therapy. And if you guys are loyal subscribers to my channel, which you should be, subscribe, thank you very much. You would know that every year around my hormone anniversary, I need a word for that. Horniversary, maybe not horniversary, that would not be good, but I have made videos for the last 5 years. This year's hormone update video is going to be a little bit different. I do want to briefly start out by mentioning all of the effects that hormones have had on my body for the last 5 years. But like I've said, I've made videos all along the way, so you've heard a lot of the changes that I experienced for the first 4 years. So I really want to focus on the changes that have happened in the last year, which there have been a lot. We'll get into why, but there have been a lot of changes, so stick with me. Third and final part of this video, I'm going to be answering a bunch of questions that I got over on Instagram. I asked my followers to leave any of the questions that they had about hormone replacement therapy, and they did not disappoint. If you guys like this video, make sure that you subscribe right down below. I post videos every single week, so turn your notifications on, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And with no further ado, let's get into this week's video. Getting right into it, there are a lot of changes that you can expect when you start hormones. A few of the most dramatic, I would say, changes can be redistribution of fat in your body. So for example, your body fat will go from the typically masculine places to the typically feminine places. Also, you'll probably notice that your muscle mass starts to decrease. In terms of hair, the hair on your body is gonna grow a lot slower, and then the hair on your head is gonna grow a lot faster. So it's pretty much exactly what you could want. That being said, any body hair that you have or any facial hair that you have that you don't necessarily like, hormones is not gonna get rid of that hair. The only thing that can permanently get rid of hair is laser hair removal or electrolysis. Another common misconception is that it will change your voice when you go on estrogen, and that's really not true. You'll also notice a lot of breast tissue starting to form. But I would say that I started to feel like the little, they call it a ball of tissue under your nipple. I started to feel that maybe at like the 2-month mark. I don't really remember. That is honestly a ballpark, so hard. I would say around the 2-month mark, I experienced that little like ball underneath the skin. And then around 6 to 9 months is when my breast really started to take shape and like fill out. I have a 9-month hormone update video where I talk about breast growth, like specifically. I'll like put it right up here. I always get it wrong. It's either gonna be over there or over there, it's probably gonna be right there, right there. Click it, okay, cool. In terms of like sexual function, this varies a lot between people. A lot of times people's like sexual organs down there will shrink, and also it'll become different the way that you feel pleasure. I'm not gonna get into it right now because I don't want to get demonetized, but yeah. A lot of people also say that your sex drive like goes away when you start hormones, and for me that wasn't really the case. I will say that my sex drive was maybe a little bit lowered, but it was nothing compared to like after I had bottom surgery. Obviously my sex drive was like, it was like way different. But I would say the most important like effect of hormones that I was really looking forward to, and the main reason that I wanted to take hormones was because it was going to stop my body from developing in those masculine ways. I was 17 when I got on hormones. My body was still like, I'm not gonna say that I was like pre-puberty or anything, but it was still kind of developing and still not at its full form yet. So I wanted to catch it before it got to the full masculine effect, you know what I'm saying? So now I want to talk about the changes that I've noticed since last year. And like I said earlier, I've noticed a lot of changes within the last year. I feel like my situation is kind of unique. I feel like most people will probably not notice a lot of changes after the 4-year mark. But for me, I switched my hormones probably around a year ago from the tablets or like the pills to injections, and I've noticed a lot of progress since then. I talk a little bit about the concerns that I was having in a video where I talked about switching from, pills to injections, but it's been a while now and I feel like I fully, recognize the effects that it's had on my body. The main 2 things that I was concerned about was my sex drive was really, really low, and I also was really concerned about the weight distribution in my hips. I felt like I really had no hips at all despite like trying to gain weight and fill out. So after doing some research and talking to some other trans girls, I ended up switching from the pills to the injections, and at the same time I started taking progesterone. Since then, I've noticed that my sex drive has gone up tremendously. I don't know if it was, the higher dose of estrogen or the added progesterone, but it's like completely back. I've noticed that my energy levels have gone up a lot. Also, I don't know if this is related, I feel like it probably is, but you know how you lose hair like in the shower, you'll like wash your hair, you'll brush your hair, whatever, and you'll get like a certain amount of hair loss? Ever since I started injections, I feel like I've been losing less hair every time, which like that wasn't one of my concerns to begin with, but like I'm glad, like shit, I don't want to lose my hair. The next 2 effects are actually things that my boyfriend pointed out to me. I asked him like, hey, have you noticed anything since I switched to injections? What's your opinion? What do you think? And he actually said himself that he has noticed that my hips have gotten wider, like I've gotten more weight in my lower half of my body, which is like, thank you, Lord, thank you, estrogen, Jesus. He said that he's also noticed that my skin has gotten a lot softer, which like, thanks, bitch, you saying that my skin was rough before? I'm gonna have to have a talk with him about that one. But I noticed that my skin was softer when I first started hormones, so it makes sense why it would be getting even softer with the introduction of more estrogen. Also, little tidbit, I wanna make a point of not mentioning my dosages or anything like that, and I wanna make it clear that I think that if you're going to be going on hormone replacement therapy, I think that you should go to a doctor for it. I don't think that anybody should be doing this like on their own. No DIY hormones here, please. It's not safe. You could literally mess yourself up so bad, so please do not do that. Another thing that my boyfriend actually noticed, kind of salty about this one too, but I'll let it go. He said that he's noticed that my mood is a little bit less stable, you could say. Like I get upset a lot more easily, I get emotional a lot more easily, and like I've noticed that too. I'll literally cry at like everything because I'm just a sad bitch, you know what I'm saying? But it could also be due to, you know, user error. I will admit that sometimes I will like do my injection on like a Monday and then the next week I'll do it on a Tuesday or a Sunday, you know what I mean? So I will take that one. I will take the blame for that. So this is a clip from last year, and then I'll play a clip from this year, and hopefully you'll be able to see the difference. I don't know how long this is. I'm just gonna kind of sit here. Okay, you guys, so now we are finally in the last part of this video. I'm going to jump over onto Instagram, look at the questions that you guys have asked me, and answer a few for you guys. So let's get into it. So the first question is, how long should you be on hormone replacement therapy before you have surgery done? If you're having like a breast augmentation or like fat redistribution surgery, like a BBL or something, I would recommend waiting at least 2 years because it can take up to that long for the full development of your breasts and for the tissues in your hips. So yeah, I would say at least 2 years for that one. I would say probably about a year for any facial related surgeries. The changes on your face from hormones are probably gonna be pretty minimal after the 1 year point. And also most facial surgeries are working on the bone of your face, and hormones are not gonna change the bone of your face at all. So you're kind of good to go with that one. For things like a tracheal shave or an Adam's apple removal, again, I don't think that you really have to wait that long because hormones are really not going to affect your bone or the cartilage whatsoever. So really you just want to talk to your surgeon or your doctor and see what they recommend for the particular procedure that you're having done. I don't know why I always do this. I talk with my hands so much and like the gestures don't even make sense, girl. So the next question that I got is, does it hurt at all throughout the process? And the answer to that is sometimes. I mentioned earlier the little like ball of tissue or nerves or whatever it is under your nipples when your breasts start to grow. That can hurt a lot. They can be extremely sensitive to the touch. They can be sore, but that's pretty much the only pain that I experienced. So the next question was very long. Hopefully I am like, you know, oh, stop. But basically their question was, will hormones take away dysphoria? Kind of. It depends what your dysphoria is about. Obviously, if you have, you know, genital dysphoria, it's not gonna appease your genital dysphoria. But if you have dysphoria about, say, developing more masculine, like I did, just like having the right hormones running through my body, it alleviated that anxiety that I felt about developing in a more masculine way. The next question is, how expensive is hormone replacement therapy? Obviously, I can only speak for myself. However, I will say that in the United States at the current moment, the estradiol valerate that I am prescribed is pretty expensive. For a little jar like this big, it's like $200. I will say that I found like a little coupon on GoodRx, which makes it a lot cheaper. And also the vial lasts me longer than just 4 weeks. So I'm able to keep that one prescription for maybe like 3 or 4 months. I will not recommend doing that because they say not to do that, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I'm not trying to pay all that money every single month, you know what I'm saying? But when I was on HRT pills, however, it was a lot cheaper. I don't really remember the exact prices, but it was never anywhere near how expensive it can be now. So the next question reads, I have very broad shoulders and fairly muscular arms. Will anything happen to them? So HRT is really only going to affect the soft tissue in your body. It's not going to affect any of the bone or anything like that. If your shoulders look broad due to muscle in this area, hormone replacement therapy will actually help decrease that muscle, but it's just kind of like a case-to-case basis. It depends what's going on with your shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Hormones will definitely help soften the muscle on your arms or on the muscle on your legs, pretty much all over your body. It'll just become a lot more smooth looking. So the next question is, how long did it take to get onto hormone replacement therapy? For me, it took about 5 months to get onto hormones. The very first step for me was going to see my gender therapist, and then she did the evaluation with me, and then eventually she referred me to an endocrinologist who then put me on hormones. In my opinion, this is the safest way to do it. Hormones are super powerful medications, and sometimes they do have effects that are irreversible. You really want to make sure that hormone replacement therapy is right for you. And the best way to do that is to, you know, go to a gender therapist and be evaluated for gender dysphoria and then take it from there. All right, you guys, that is it for this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you guys like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. Comment if you have any questions or anything like that, and subscribe if you are not already and you would like to be. Also, make sure to turn on your post notification things if you do decide to subscribe, because you don't want to miss out when I post the next video. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm going to go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.